What if you could literally write your own destiny? I'm not talking about just dreaming about it. I mean, what if you could put pen to paper and build your reality word by word? Well, today, we're going to dive into the really fascinating worldview of a man named Santosh, who truly believes his life is a story that he himself is writing.
And honestly, this one sentence, it's the key to understanding everything about him. It's such a powerful statement, right? It just sets the stage for this totally unique philosophy where, for him, the line between what's real and what's imagined, it just vanishes. See, in his mind, dreaming is passive. It's something that just happens. But writing? Oh, writing is an act of creation.
All right, so that's the big idea, but it begs the question, right? How exactly does someone become the architect of their own story? Well, for Santosh, it all starts with completely redefining what it even means to write.
And you really have to feel the conviction here. This isn't just, keeping a diary or writing poems. Not at all. For Santosh, every single word, every sentence, it's a literal building block. It's like a brick he's using to build his future, his company, his entire identity.
He actually has a specific word for this worldview. He calls it his darshan. And this isn't just some passing thought. Nope. It's a complete philosophy, a vision he feels he has to show the world. Really, the whole point of his life is to be a living, breathing example of this darshan.
And this is where it gets really interesting, how he merges these two identities. He's not just a writer or a CEO. He's both at the exact same time. Think about it. The company he's building, that's the plot. The challenges he faces in the market, that's the conflict. And his strategies, well, those are the plot twists. He's both the author and the main character in his own epic story.
Okay, so if you're going to build an entire life out of words, you need more than just a big idea, right? You need a process. You need a method. So the question is, how does Santosh actually turn these huge concepts from just thoughts into something real?
Well, his method is this really simple but kind of profound three-step ritual. First up, you have Rat Bhar Sochna. That's thinking all night, just letting ideas float around and take shape. Then, and this is the crucial part, comes Kagaz Par Utarna, actually putting it all down on paper, giving those thoughts some real substance. And finally, Kahani Bana Dena, creating the story. That's where he weaves it all together into a narrative that he can then literally go out and live.
And this quote, man, it just hammers the point home perfectly. For him, this isn't a metaphor. It's a straight-up statement of fact. Every single word is a choice, another brick he's laying in the foundation of his own reality. I mean, think about the huge responsibility he's putting on his own writing. Every great story has to have a big ambition, right? Some high-stakes goal. Santoshi's darshan is no different. And his inspiration? Well, it comes from a very familiar and very, very formidable character.
Yep, Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders, and it makes sense when you think about it. Here's a guy who built an empire from nothing, just through pure force of will, smarts, and just relentless ambition. So for Santosh, Shelby isn't just a TV character. He's like a case study in how to make a vision real.
And the parallel here is just crystal clear. The same way Tommy Shelby built his empire with strategy and pure grit, Santosh sees himself building his blind company into the biggest in the world. He's basically writing himself into that same story arc. The underdog who uses nothing but vision to create this global dynasty.
And really, this is the ultimate test of his entire philosophy. If he can pull this off, it's not just a business success story. For him, it would be the ultimate proof. Proof that a thought, once you write it down and commit to it, can literally shape the physical world. It would be, as he says, a victory of thought.
Okay, but what happens if the story doesn't go according to the script? What about failure? This is where we get to the absolute core of his resilience, the real source of his strength.
And it's a question he asks himself, which is so interesting. After all this talk about building a massive empire, he brings up the idea of failure. So, does the final outcome actually matter to his philosophy?
And his answer is so powerful. He says, "My spirit is my strength." And that reveals everything. The real power isn't in actually achieving the goal, it's in the unbreakable spirit of the person writing the story. The ending is almost secondary to the simple act of writing.
This all leads to what you could call his core belief, his writer's creed. A writer can never really be defeated. Why? Because as long as you can still write, you can always start over. A bad chapter doesn't mean the book is over. You can always turn to a fresh page. Every single word you write is a chance for a brand new beginning.
And that kind of leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. If your life is a story that you're constantly writing, and every word is a new beginning, when does the story actually end? Or is it just an infinite loop of new beginnings? It's a pretty powerful idea to think about, that maybe the ultimate strength isn't about finishing the story, but in having the power to just keep writing it.